Hi, everybody. This is Justina, and welcome to the continuation of the Web3 class. This class, we will be going through privacy and encryption and the concerns regarding that in Web3. So let's get started. What is privacy? Privacy, broadly speaking, is the right to be left alone or freedom from interference or intrusion. Information privacy is the right to have some control over how your personal information is collected and used. And within this class and within the sphere of Web3, what we'll be looking at is decentralization and transparency. So what I mean by this is in Web3, we're looking at decentralized way of storing data privately, but at the same time, the transactions that do occur can be transparent. Decentralization facilitates autonomy, including giving users control over the data, and transparency leads to community safety and gives users control as well. So that means you can choose what data you share, but also the companies you interact with, you can see what is on their end. And decentralization means that you can store the data all over the place, but at the same time as the user, you can choose how you interact with those systems like we discussed earlier in the class. So with that, the use cases I will use for this session are privacy coins. Privacy coins are like cash. So when you go to the bank and you transact with the bank and you take the money out, that transaction is recorded and who you are is recorded. But then once that cash is taken out and you start using within the ecosystem, that stops being recorded, because when you start paying at a cash register, it's autonomous, like it's no one knows who you are, right? There's nothing attached to that transaction. So currently so basically right now, currently your data is used to make money for other companies, because what happens during Web 2, right, is that our information is being taken and it is being sold to other companies. So what Web 3 will enable us to do is say, how are we sharing that data with these big companies like Facebook, Amazon, and other things? And then it will make the currency that is being used in these ecosystems, like the cash. So privacy coins are like the cash for Web3. And then the other thing that we have to look at is in Web3, how are we able to use encryption for our benefit? So when it comes to privacy coins, what are the functionalities that really make that up? So there's the sender privacy, there's the cryptographic privacy, and then there's the balance visibility. So I'm going to look at for one of the privacy coins, and there are several, but for this class, I'm only going to look at Monero and Zcash. So these are proof of work systems. They use different kinds of privacy mechanisms, which are encryption. So Monero uses ring signature and Zcash uses ZK snarks. So Monero is a decentralized, and the other ones, for example, are Dash and PIVX. So their Dash is still a proof of work system. You have a proof of stake system, and there it shows, are the transactions viewable? Are they not viewable? What kind of transactions exist? How can you look at it? What is the block time? You can find more information on it. But for the case of this class, I'm going to go over two of the coins. So Monero is a decentralized cryptocurrency. It uses a public distributed ledger with privacy enhancing technologies that obfuscate transactions to achieve anonymity and fungibility. Observers cannot decipher addresses trading Monero, transaction amounts, address balances, or transaction histories. So these currencies are like the cash for the internet and Web3. And Zcash is another Bitcoin fork. And what it uses are ZK snarks. ZK snarks are zero knowledge succinct, non-interactive argument of knowledge. It is a technology that allows miners to verify transactions without knowing who sent or received the coins, which goes back to what is privacy within this kind of ecosystem. And that team has actually been working both for Zcash, but there's also, they've worked on Quorum for JP Morgan. So as we move into this Web3 world, it's not only going to be these decentralized places, decentralized companies that are looking to use this technology, but it's also JP Morgan who will be looking at how to use this technology. And there's so many other use cases for that, which I will also get into a little bit later. So what are we talking about when we're looking at integrity, availability, and confidentiality of data? So we rely on a system to act as intended and the data to be as we left it. We're looking for availability. We rely on the ability to access and use systems data. And confidentiality, we expect the system and data to be restricted according to our terms. So when you interact with a bank today, you say to the bank, we sign an agreement. You're going to take my data and whatever cash I have, you're not going to cheat me out of the money that I have in the account. You're going to be available for me when I need to go take the money out, and you're going to keep my account safe. So these coins are doing that and have the ability to do that. Now, the question is, what is the information that these companies really need to know about us? Because with our phones, we could be oversharing our information with companies like Facebook, or with companies like phone companies. They could be even storing information of how much you've walked that day, when you go to the bathroom, and anything that you could be saying in your life. So what are the terms and conditions that you really sign up with, and what is the control you have over your data, and what is the monetary value for you as a user for that data, and what are the risks associated to these kinds of to this kind of encryption? Because once you have that data and say it's encrypted and you can no longer track it like cash, you can be what can happen? Well, you can have hacking, you can have concerns like market manipulation, money laundering. If you cannot trace the transaction and you can send $1 million across the world, the governments are going to say, well, we would like to tax it, right? So there's so many concerns, and it's that idea and concept of how much ownership of my data should I have versus how much should be given to the government versus private entities. And I think that's something that will keep on evolving within this ecosystem. But for all intents purposes of this class, I'm looking at the technology that currently exists. And as we move forward, it will continue to be like that. And there will be concerns there is always going to be these hacking concerns. So encryption is a really great thing. But the point is, there's still ecosystems that have been hacked. And so as we move into this Web3 world, these are the considerations that have to be there. Security will continue to be a thing, and security and privacy actually continuously go hand in hand, because in order for you to have privacy, you need a sense of security in the system. So we have to look at these systems as a whole, and what are the things we are really aiming for these systems to provide, right? Like integrity, availability, and confidentiality. And how will these decentralized systems in Web3 allow for us to do this, as we've been doing with the regular and traditional systems? And then will they allow us to speak and have a higher voice in the ecosystem? And how will we really look at what we trade for giving up our privacy and what we're getting? And I think as we enter this Web3 world, it will be very interesting. So thank you for joining me in this class, and I look forward to continuing the class with you. Have a great day.